often all the women really like it. There is a problem, though. There is one party that does not consent and would not consent and cannot consent to the process of surrogacy. And just to be clear, what surrogacy is the splicing of what should be one person, mother, into three purchasable and optional women: the genetic mother who gives the children her biological identity, the birth mother with whom the child forms that critical bond in the first 9.5 months of their life, and the social mother who loves and raises the child and offers that distinctly female nurture that a man could never give the baby. And the child needs all three. And if all three are not found in one woman, the child will experience loss. A child would never consent to losing their genetic mother. A child would never consent to being severed from the only person they know the day they're born. A child would never consent to being raised in a motherless home. So the only argument, I think, against surrogacy that is defensible in every case is the position that this is a victimizing child practice. This violates children's rights, their right to their mother and father. So I think that this is a matter of child defense. Surrogacy, whether or not the people that take home the baby are single or married or gay or straight or fertile or infertile, always forces children to lose one, two, or three mothers that they have a natural right to, that they long for, and that they need.
Yeah, and you talk about that bond, which is another aspect of trouble in this whole discussion, which is severing a bond. But some people will say, well, isn't it really okay that these children are losing this bond? Isn't this bond really kind of just a fantasy in your head, Katie? I mean, the nuclear family, after all, is just a dangerous tool of white supremacy and heteronormativity, and it's really just a social construction. You can mix, you can match. How is a kid ever going to even know if you never tell them? What's the big deal?
Yeah, you can mix, you can match, but it's going to involve child loss. And that's where I draw the line. I mean, all of these euphemisms that we have, like if the adults are happy, the kids will be happy, or love makes a family. No, loss makes that family. Child has to lose their mother or father to be in your family, and that's an injustice. And you know what? Our species is heteronormative. I mean, like if you've got a problem with children coming from a man and woman and needing that man and woman and having optimal outcomes when raised by that married man and woman, your problem isn't with me. Your problem is with biology. This species is screaming against you and your designs for a modern family. And now, at Them Before Us, we have the stories of kids that were raised in those modern families. And many of them say, yeah, that wasn't great. In fact, the Washington Post just had an opinion article out on Mother's Day of a gay dad who was talking about his 3.5-year-old daughter that came home from preschool and said, I want a mommy. 3.5 years old. This is a kid who is growing up in a very pro-gay, progressive, economically affluent area. There are zero people in her life saying, you know what, you should have a mommy. I guarantee every single one of them are saying, you're so lucky to have two dads who love you, two dads who wanted you so much, they went through so much trouble to have you. But you know what? This 3.5-year-old wanted a mom. Why? Because she's a human child, and that's what human children want. They want their own mother. She didn't have any social programming that said, you should have a mom. She just said, I desperately want a mom, and was sad for a couple weeks. And then she solved the problem herself by saying, one of my dads is going to be my mom. And now she calls him mom and literally polices everybody's pronouns and says, don't call him he, call my mom she. I mean, that's how innate it is. That's how ingrained it is in the reality of what it means to be a human child. And so we can play with words. Supreme Court justices can make decisions about the entire nation and the nature of marriage, but you can't overwrite the fundamentals of what it means to be children, who they come from, what they need, and what they want. You can try, but biology's running the table here, not me.
That's an important point, and it kind of goes to show you there's no amount of defining something a different way that's ever going to change reality. And when we do that, we end up with terror, destruction, heartbreak, and loss in the wake. It's trying to sort of bully your way to a new reality that simply will never be. And sometimes people don't even realize that they're not trying to be destructive, but that's what it ends up being. And that's where we get the distinction between natural law and our written law. You can write anything down, but naturally, the law of the jungle is mommy and daddy make a child. And we are kind of spinning this out of control, thinking we can, as the old phrase goes, play God. But
Yeah.
that's just simply not what we do or what we're supposed to do. So, our last segment here relates to the topic you were just speaking on, the promotion of disordered family relationships.